Hi, this is Laurence here at the Leber Academy at La Manga Club in Spain. Here I've got a student, a 15-year-old boy from Kazakhstan who's playing off scratch and represents the national team as well in Kazakhstan. So I'll just play some of the swings on, and ball flight tended to be very high. Quite a lot of overdraws and pulls to the left, along with inconsistencies with the strike as well, and definitely issues with distance control because of the flights. So I'll just play this on, and then what I'll do is I'll go through some of the A-swing principles that we worked on with him to try and help him achieve a little bit more of a repeatable pattern with his ball flights. So just go through kind of the setup. So the most obvious thing that we can see really is that, as the hands go in, the club gets sucked behind him, okay, and as a result the club gets a little bit flat on the way back, a little bit out of balance, and as a result Nurtai will simply lift his arms up independent from the coil of his body. So his arm swing has traveled quite a long way, and in that position there, the club's obviously a little bit laid off, pointing off to the left. Part of this was also down to how his pivot was in the backswing. You'll notice that the middle, or his belt buckle, really isn't winding as much as it should. So his arms really disconnect away from his pivot, and then this forces him to get a little bit slidey with his hips, so a little bit of a lateral movement with the hips there, and you can see quite how far the arms have traveled on the way back. As a result, it's very hard for him to actually catch up in sequence down into impact, so you can see there's a lot more hands pulling down and very less kind of a lower body lead, the sequence that we'd like of lower body, upper body, and then arms and club. It's actually quite the reverse here, and as he comes into impact, he looks very much under, really backing up off the ball flight, and you can tell, that his dynamic loft, especially with some of his shorter irons, were a little bit too high, and so the trajectory wasn't as piercing. So you can see as he comes in, he gets a little bit stuck there with his right arm. Shoulders very closed, absolutely no angles to his body at all, and so the bottom of the swing ends up being a little bit too far behind him, okay, and that's what would cause some of the inconsistencies of his strike. And then as we release it through, you can just see how the pivot works on the way through as well with his legs. So all in all, quite a loose swing. Not really much ground force being used as well with the pivot. So the first thing that we kind of got him to think a little bit more of was really the pivot. So we got him into a couple of pivot drills, and in these pivot drills he was able to kind of feel what it was we wanted him to do. So with his arms on his rib cage, his main focus was to try and get that belt buckle working as deep and as far back behind him as he could, and that really got him to feel the pressure into his right foot, and then from there he would try and then shift that pressure into his left foot, and that was his idea in a simple manner for how his lower body should work. And then as he comes through, he's just going to post up and straighten up, and that was his idea of the pivot. So the second drill that we did was really to try and get the sensation of how the arms would link to the body and how the club would work in balance on the way back. So we did a simple, a very simple mirror drill with split hands. So I'm just going to try and find that video for you now. So here with the split hands, Nirtai was basically given the cue to try and keep the club head as far on the outside of his hands as possible, whilst trying to keep that right arm on top for as long as possible. And so as a result, you'll notice that his shoulders pitch a little bit differently. There's a lot more pitch into that left shoulder. Okay, and the right arm stays a little bit more on top, and the right palm especially stays a little bit more on top, creating that lovely club face, matching the spine angle look there. All right, and then as he went up, the sensation was to get that club up on its end, and then from there just to complete the wind, keeping the arms low and connected. And that was his image going back. So, we worked on this for quite a long time, and overall, the results were pretty good after 2 weeks of working. So the new swing here is on the left-hand side, excuse me. Okay, so I'll just draw up a plane line and just show you some of the changes that he's made. So purely pivot drills and purely backswing. So you can see the right arm working more on top, gets more vertical, arms a lot more connected, and shallows it out beautifully and covers the ball nicely as well. Okay, we compare that back to his old or original swing. You can see the club shaft working under plane straight away. Club face rotates a little bit too much, flat, and then it would actually be slightly steeper on the way down where he'd get trapped and he'd sacrifice his contact. So just one more time. Lay that up. So a different look to his shots, and his shots were a lot more penetrating. They were a lot more repeatable as well with this action, and he just felt like he was a lot more compact, and he was able to sync up his body into the downswing a lot easier coming into impact with this style. So here I just want to show you, the original backswing. So hardly any wind up in the midsection there. A little bit of a lateral sway, arms lift, quite a long disconnected arm swing, and as a result, not really getting on top of the ball, not really syncing up arm swing with body swing on the way through. And then this was his new one. So we're looking to see a little bit more wind, a little bit more ground pressure, a lot more compact, shorter arm swing. He's able to get more on top of it on the way through. I'll just run that through one more time. And straight into impact. So just a better lineup, a better sequence of things coming in to the shot as well. So we've had lots of great success using the A-swing principles, and we look forward to helping more students. Thank you very much.